Thank you. Good evening. You're watching Mondays. Look North.
On tonight's programme, the West Yorkshire couple in a race against time to have their 30-year partnership recognised by law.
Heterosexual couples can only marry. We don't have the right to civil partnership, and that is unfair and unequal.
But what are the rights for different sex couples who just don't want to tie the knot?
Also tonight, catch of the day. Filey fishermen and top chefs join forces to show their industry isn't a threat to other marine life. We look back on a weekend of celebrations as Harrogate Town win promotion and Huddersfield enjoy a Premier League survival party.
We'll be talking live to the Huddersfield Town chairman, Dean Hoyle, about what the plans are for that second season in the Premier League.
Well, what a stunning day it's been right across Yorkshire and North Derbyshire. But what about the next few days? Will it last? Join me for that week ahead forecast.
Hello and thank you for joining us. First tonight, is it time the law recognised mixed-sex couples who don't want to get married? The fight for civil partnerships to be available to everyone went to the UK's highest court today.
For Steve and John are from Mythenroyd, the issue is a race against time. Steve has cancer and they want to secure inheritance and pension rights after 30 years together. Phil Bodmer has been to meet them.
Joanna Christina and Steve Anderson have been together for 30 years. The pair have 3 children who have now grown up. They say opposite-sex couples who choose not to marry should have the rights of same-sex couples in civil partnerships.
We would like a civil partnership because we would like to make a social and personal declaration of our commitment to each other, a commitment of 30 years before one of us dies.
Would it not just be easier and simpler to get married?
That's never been in the picture for us. Marriage, politically, in our history, is just not fitted for us. It's okay for some people. Some people don't see it in that way, and that's fine for them, but it's not how we have chosen to view it.
Civil partnerships were introduced in December 2005. Providing LGBT couples the same legal effect, rights and obligations as married mixed-sex relationships.
That makes no sense to me. You know, if you're living with somebody in a loving relationship for many years, you should have the same values, the same laws as anybody, basically. You know, pension rights and everything should be exactly the same.
Not everybody chooses to get married, and Michael and I wouldn't have gone for the marriage option. We were happy with the civil partnership option, and that should extend to heterosexual people as well.
This was the civil partnership consultation.
The Supreme Court is currently hearing a case where a heterosexual couple are seeking the right to have a mixed-sex civil partnership recognised in law.
It's an unequal situation that heterosexual couples are not free to have civil partnerships, and gay couples are.
For Joe and Steve and millions of unmarried couples like them, acknowledgement of their long-standing commitment to each other outside of wedlock can't come soon enough. The current inequality, they say, is neither fair nor sustainable. Phil Bodmer, BBC Look North, Mythenroyd.
Let's speak now to the BBC's legal correspondent, Clive Coleman. Clive, can you talk us through some of the arguments being raised at the Supreme Court at the moment?
Well, Rebecca Steinfeld and Charles Keaton are a heterosexual couple. They've got nothing against marriage for other people, but they have a deep-seated objection to it based on its historical, patriarchal nature. And what they argue is that the current ban under the Civil Partnership Act that forbids heterosexual couples from entering into a civil partnership breaches their human rights. They say it discriminates against them on grounds of their sexual orientation, and they also argue that it breaches their Article 8 right under the Human Rights Act, their right to a private and family life. Now, on the other hand, the government argued in court today that they want a more sort of evolutionary approach to this. They say that since marriage has become available to all, research needs to be, some research has been done, but more research needs to be done into the demand for civil partnerships. Now that marriage is available to everybody, is civil partnership a dying institution, if you like, and that they say that research should go into next year, and then there should be a public consultation. No, say this couple, they say the injustice is happening now, the breach of their civil rights is happening now, and things need to change now. And if the Supreme Court rules in their favour and declares that the current law is incompatible with human rights, then that would force the government to do something, and in all likelihood, they would need to make civil partnerships available to heterosexual couples as well as to same-sex couples.
Just briefly, Clive, the government is currently looking at the issue of civil partnership. Is there a chance they could be scrapped?
Well, the government is definitely leaving that option available. As I said, the take-up of civil partnerships since we've had gay marriage has gone down dramatically. James Eady in court today said by some 85%. So the government are certainly looking at that, and if the demand is low, then they've left themselves the option of scrapping it in its entirety.
Clive, thank you very much indeed.
Next tonight, some of the country's leading chefs have been in Filey to support the town's fishermen. The industry is under threat from new proposals by the Environment Agency, which may not renew their licences.
Now, the plan is to protect salmon stocks, despite the fact that trout are the town's main catch. So, fishermen sent out an open invitation to the authorities and others to join them at sea. Look North's Carla Fowler was aboard.
Men from Filey have fished these waters for centuries, but this could be their final season. Every year they catch 4,000 or 5,000 sea trout between them, but it's the tiny salmon bycatch of just 150 odd fish that threatens to end fishing here for good. To protect salmon stocks, the Environment Agency are bringing in new rules which will keep these men off the water for longer next year. The impact here will be devastating and unnecessary, say the Filey few.
This year it's a slow start. We're now into middle of May. If the new bylaws come in, it gives us the rest of this month and next month to make a living. But if we have a bad month, we're not going to get a chance to make it up with a good month, with the good weather. So basically, if we have a bad 2 months at the beginning, that's us finished. We can't make it viable pay.
This fleet is smaller than some angling clubs fishing wild salmon for sport. They've had to be creative to survive this long, refining their methods to protect stocks and wildlife. They use specially designed J-nets from which seabirds and salmon can be released if caught. I'm here on board the Katie and Emily, a traditional Yorkshire cobble owned by Rex, and he and the other fishermen cast their nets about 5 or 6 hours ago, and so far they've yielded a single sea trout. It's a hard living to make out here as things stand, but the changes the Environment Agency want to make could finish this trade for good. Only a handful of fishermen remain in Filey, but now their story has caught the attention of some top chefs with a taste for fine local fish.
I think we've all got together really to support the fishermen here, really to highlight, firstly, all the wonderful things that are in Yorkshire, commodity-wise, and secondly, really just to say to the guys that try it, taste it, fight for it. It's worth fighting for to keep the fisheries going here.
I think you can come to a conclusion here where fishermen can keep fishing, the Environment Agency can get what they want, which is a low-impact, environmentally friendly fishery, and Filey can keep its heritage.
A petition started by Rex has now gained 16,000 signatures.
They're trying to stop the fishermen fishing when the fishermen can get a living.
It really takes the heart out of Filey, and for a lot of people, they're living.
I think fishing should be sustainable, and how they're fishing is sustainable and it's historical.
The Filey few invited the authorities on board today to share their catch of 3 trout and no salmon. The Environment Agency declined. Carla Fowler, BBC Look North, Filey.
Well, John Shelley is from the Environment Agency. John, the fishermen say they're taking care not to harm the environment, so why does the Environment Agency have a problem with what they're currently doing?
Well, the situation is that the latest evidence that we have is that many of the salmon populations that are caught in Filey Bay by the J-nets are not doing very well. And simply put, those salmon populations from different rivers up the east coast of England and up into Scotland, they need greater protection. So what we're trying to do is offer that necessary protection to vulnerable salmon stocks, but at the same time doing so in such a way that still allows the netsman fishing out of Filey to fish for sea trout as far as is possible.
But salmon only makes up a tiny percentage of the fishermen's overall catch, which is, as you say, mainly sea trout. So is it worth all this trouble, this eroding of a tradition that goes back generations?
I think the point is that many of the salmon stocks that are contributing to the catch in Filey simply don't have any spare fish. So what we're trying to do is reach that compromise, that balance, so that we allow salmon netsmen to catch as many sea trout as they can, up to that point where the bycatch of salmon, which we accept is much lower than the catch of sea trout, is too high. And we've decided that based on the evidence, based on the patterns of catches, the end of June, which is a shorter season from next year, should be when the net fishery for sea trout ends. And that will still allow the net fishermen to catch typically somewhere between a half to 2/3 of the sea trout catch that they would have done anyway, but also provide much stronger protection for vulnerable and threatened salmon stocks.
Now, has this got anything to do with regulations from the European Union?
This is an entirely local matter, or certainly a UK matter. We are looking at bylaws nationally to regulate how salmon are caught, and locally we're regulating the Yorkshire and North East net fishery to best achieve that necessary further protection for salmon stocks.
John Shelley, thank you.
A doctor from West Yorkshire who was kidnapped at gunpoint while trekking to see gorillas in Congo has spoken of her relief after being rescued.
29-year-old Bethan Davis was snatched by armed thugs who also shot dead a female park ranger in Virunga National Park. Charlotte Leeming has this report.
Relieved and grateful. That's how Bethan Davis has described her feelings after she endured a traumatic kidnapping ordeal with fellow doctor Robert Jesty. On Friday, they were abducted by gunmen during a sightseeing trip to Africa's oldest national park, Virunga, a famous gorilla sanctuary. A park ranger, Rachel Masika Baraka, was killed trying to protect them. They were held in the remote forest for 3 days before a team of soldiers and UN negotiators flew in to save them. The national park is a World Heritage Site, but it's plagued by violence. Armed rebels hide in its rugged landscape, remnants of Congo's devastating civil war. They kidnap tourists, then demand a ransom. But although visitors are warned not to travel here, some still come in order to see the mountain gorillas. In a statement issued through the Foreign Office, the pair said, "We are very relieved that there's been a positive outcome to the kidnapping and are very grateful for the excellent support we have received." The kidnappers were reported to demanded nearly £150,000 ransom, but officials said they were freed without any payment. Bethan's said to be in good spirits as she returns home to be reunited with her family. Thankfully, she's unharmed, but has learnt firsthand the dangers of visiting one of the most volatile places in the world. Charlotte Leeming, BBC Look North.
Let's get some news in brief now. And a council care worker who found a Leeds teenager hanging from a tree didn't call 999 until a colleague told him to, a review has found. Callum Garland, who was 14, died after becoming tangled in a rope while climbing the tree in 2015. A serious case review said there were major failures by the care worker who was looking after Callum, which led to a delay in him getting medical help. He no longer works for the City Council. The review recommend that care workers get more training in dealing with emergencies.
St James's Hospital has had a big response after a donor appeal by the parents of a 15-year-old girl from Wakefield with a rare kidney disease. Abby Longfellow's family spent years campaigning for the NHS to fund a drug which would help keep her alive after a kidney transplant. The drug is now available on the NHS, but Abby can't begin treatment because a suitable donor match hasn't been found.
It's heartbreaking. You'd give both your kidneys to your child and place yourself on dialysis, and to know that you could be a solution tomorrow, but not be able to progress that it's very, very difficult.
Work to construct a second temporary television mast at Emley Moor is now underway. A helicopter has been lifting sections of the lattice structure into place. Engineers working at almost 1,000 feet are then bolting the new tower together. When it's finished, the mast will be slightly smaller than the existing structure. It's expected to stand for the next 5 years, whilst crucial engineering work takes place on the concrete tower, which was built in 1969 and provides television signals to almost 5 million people across Yorkshire.
A new treetop assault course has opened at Temple Newsome Park in West Yorkshire. Go Ape had hoped to open the attraction in Roundhay Park, but 3,000 people signed a petition against it. The company found a new location and expects thousands of visitors this year alone. Today, one of the first to try it was a 70-year-old Leeds councillor.
Leeds City Council and Go Ape have worked together for a long time now to put this here as an added attraction to everything else that's here at Temple Newsome, and I think really enjoyable and really safe as well. I mean, if someone from my age can do it, I think lots of people can.
Well played. A woman who created her own ostomy bag covers, after having bowel surgery, has now made more than 600 to give to others. Kimberly Swales from Yeadon says her creation boosted her confidence after the operation. Following a video on our Facebook page, Kimberly was overwhelmed with fabric donations. She has now made hundreds of bags for patients in Leeds and around the world, but is still hoping for more.
And you can find out more about Kimberly's appeal and see more stories like this on our Facebook page. Just search for BBC Look North Yorkshire.
And don't forget, you can find us on Twitter and Instagram too.
On to sport now, and it was a weekend of celebration for two of our football teams. We'll talk about Harrogate Town's promotion in a moment, but first to Huddersfield, which had a carnival atmosphere for their final Premier League game of the season.
Yeah, lots of people wrote Huddersfield off, but they survived for a second season in the top flight. And the fans are clearly full of pride for their manager, their chairman and players. It was party time yesterday for the fans, regarded by many as the best in the Premier League. The reception for their manager summed it all up. David Wagner, just about the hottest property in football at the moment. And then there was Arsene Wenger, admired, respected and given a real Yorkshire send-off. But for the Huddersfield fans, the whole season's been special.
It means everything to be a supporter of this club, because the players, the fans, we all work as one. The manager's just signed my book, and it's made my day.
I've been a town fan since I was 2 years old and been on the terraces of Old Leeds Road. To see us doing what we're doing now in the Premier League is absolutely fantastic.
Dean Oil. End of. Dean Oil, what a special football club we've got. We have absolutely got an amazing football club, and that's it. I can't say any more, can I?
We've tried to be the 12th player, the 12th man behind the team. Win, lose or draw, we've been there cheering them on, no matter what.
One man's association at the club spans 72 years, working on the turnstiles. It ended yesterday, but make no mistake, he feels very much a part of this special Huddersfield Town family.
I started in the war days with my father, and it's just built up from there, really.
The one thing I think about Huddersfield Town, summed up by you, is that it's a real family atmosphere, isn't it?
I think all my turnstile staff look at it as a family. I'm trying my best to do, and you know, if somebody wants to finish early or something like that, you put your mind to it and see what you can do to help.
To the match, and Huddersfield had a blistering start. Chances created regularly. But this one was the best. Ince, a few yards out, squandered it, miles over the bar. Then Arsenal replied, one move of real quality, and a goal from a player who cost a mere £56 million. Right at the end, Huddersfield nearly equalised, a goal line save from Ospina. But it didn't stop the celebrations. That's the special Huddersfield Town celebration, really is.
Well, the action at the John Smith Stadium hasn't stopped yet, though. There's a charity football match there tonight for the Joe Cox Foundation, hosted by Huddersfield's chairman, Dean Hoyle. Tanya is there now. Tanya.
As is Dean Hoyle, kitted out and good to go. So tell us about this match.
Well, very simple. It's for the Joe Cox Foundation. We know Kim, Joe's sister, very well, and you know, it's Elise's Football Club can do. Support a fantastic charity, doing great things, and it's great to have a a friendly match at the end of a hectic season.
I saw you warming up. If you told David Wagner to come down, you might save a bit of money on the signings.
I could be a cheaper option.
Is David Wagner saying, is that for sure he will see you into that second season in the Premier League?
Look, nothing's definite, but David has made it very clear to me that this is the club he wants to stay at. We've had so much on, but we trust each other, and I'm sure a deal will be done in the not too distant future.
I remember talking to you a year ago, and you said, I've got to get used to writing some big cheques. Yeah. You're going to have to get used to writing some even bigger ones now, aren't you?
Yeah, look, this is the Premier League, biggest league in the world. Huddersfield is firmly a part of it, our second season, and that comes with the money and the expectations. So we'll do it in our own way. We'll be very prudent, very diligent, and we'll try and cement our place going forward. But it's a very exciting place to be.
How was it for you? I know you were at Chelsea.
Very nervous, not just Chelsea, but then a Eurostar to Belgium and cycle back to Huddersfield. How mad can a chairman be?
Have you enjoyed this season in the Premier League, or has it come with that much more pressure?
It's been, look, let's be fair, the Premier League is the biggest league in the world. It's unbelievable, billions watch it, it's put Huddersfield on the map. But it comes with pressure, and there's no two ways about it. It's been relentless this season. But, all's well what ends well, and, we're part of it next year, and, bring it on.
The scenes here at the weekend were absolutely incredible. I mean, this town is right behind you, isn't it?
I think Huddersfield Town is one from top to the bottom. The town, the Kirklees, we are one together. And I think that's what makes this club special and different to what I would say most of the clubs.
So are you all set to break your transfer record again and again this summer?
Again and again. I wouldn't say again and again, but we do need to know. Look, we do need to give ourselves a good chance next year of survival, and that means reinvesting in the squad. But like anything else, we've got to remain with our identity, our terrier fighting spirit, but at the same time have no limits.
Dean, it's lovely to see you.
Thank you.
And I look forward to watching you. You better get off and help your teammates.
Hey, thank you very much.
Good luck
Thank you.
tonight.
Thank
Don't
you.
wipe out one of our producers who's playing as well. In fact, let's say, if you wipe out the number 12, we'll know why she's not at work tomorrow. Right, we're staying with football, and a win in the second leg, and Rotherham United will be off to Wembley for the League One playoff final. They led twice in their first leg at Scunthorpe with goals from John Taylor and Joe Newell, but it finished 2-2. The home leg at the New York Stadium is on Wednesday night, and manager Paul Warne knows they can improve.
I thought it was just a good game of football, enjoyable for both sets of fans, and it just sets us up nice for Wednesday night. So we've got the ability to tweak. I've got a good squad, so I can tweak the team a little bit, possibly freshen it up, and hopefully be more of a goal threat.
Well, one team that's already celebrating is Harrogate Town. They won their playoff final to get promoted. They've only been professional for a year, but they are now in the conference for the first time in their history, as Dave Edwards reports.
They know how to celebrate at Harrogate Town. They know how to win as well. It's been an impressive season, scoring 100 goals in National League North and finishing second in the table, behind Salford City, co-owned by a group of former Manchester United players. Town reached the playoff final and beat Brackley by 3-0, taking them into the 5th tier of English football for the first time.
They didn't want to tempt fate at all, but I felt that we could make a real good go of it this season. Because of the chemistry in the changing room and on the park, such energy and excitement, and they've produced the goods. We just want to continue with an upward trend and upward curve, and hopefully we can hold our own.
Right guys, I'm back from the game yesterday against Brackley.
About 3,000 people were at the game, including this young man, a ball boy who also makes his own video reports, which are attracting quite a following.
Up the town! I didn't think I'd get as many views as I have, but I'm very blown away of how much I've had and the amount of support I've got. I just think I've just wanted to promote my local team for so long, and to do that is just a really big achievement for me. Like, I was running over to every single player, just cogging them, high-fiving them, screaming, just getting at them. And then when we lifted the trophy, it was just even better.
The celebrations will take a while to die down after the biggest match in this club's history. It's a win that moves them a division higher than North Yorkshire rivals York City, and of course just one step away now from the Football League itself. Dave Edwards, BBC Look North, Harrogate.
Well, there are also some celebrations for the Doncaster Bells, who won the Women's Super League 2 title. They went into their game at Millwall having already sealed it after their nearest rivals were beaten, but Neil Redfern's side still went on to win the match 1-0. It's their first league title in 24 years.
so many years we've been the bridesmaids, never the bride, and then this year we're at home for our last game of the season. We obviously know we've won the league, and it's just going to be brilliant. It's just going to be brilliant to be there with our home fans and just obviously lift the trophy. So I'm really looking forward to it.
I'm sorry to end on a down note, but in the cricket, Yorkshire were thrashed by Surrey in their county championship match at the Oval. They lasted just 9 overs this morning before being bowled out for 168 in their second innings after following on Adam Lyth's 58 was the only score of note. I have to say, watching them all out there in their kit, I almost wish I was playing, but not quite.
Our producer's called Sarah Gothorpe, and she's dirty, I can tell you. She's dirty.
Well, sticking with sport now, fans of rugby league may have spotted some familiar faces on the Australian soap Neighbours today.
Oh, wow. Lads from Rhinos. I'd recognise you anyway. Paul Robinson, big fan. Hi, mate.
These Rhino stars, Callum Watkins, Stevie Ward and Ryan Hall, made their acting debuts on the show. They filmed the scenes while in Australia for their World Club Challenge clash in February.
What, really?
Wonder if it's a new career for them. Right, well, he always does a bit of acting because he makes up the weather every single night. Mr Hudson, what have you got for us tonight?
Well, it's good news all the way. Subtle changes this week, but it looks like High Pressure is going to be in charge for quite some time. Let's have a look at a couple of pictures you've sent in over the weekend. It reflects the lovely weather. Beautiful part of the world. Linton Falls outside Grassington on the River Wharf. The second picture I've chosen, the garlic in Hart Hill. There's loads of it, Paul says, and it stinks quite a lot, but I mean, it's quite a sight, isn't it? And the third one is a picture of Sands End along that Yorkshire coastline. Keep the pictures coming in either on Instagram at Paul the Weatherman or on Twitter at Hudson Weather. So predominantly dry for this week, next weekend and probably into next week too. So things are looking very settled. Just a hint, there could be some coastal mist along the coast tomorrow. And this cold front will introduce much cooler air for a time on Wednesday and quite a bit of cloud as well. But then, as you see, high pressure re-establishes itself during the course of Thursday, and it lasts Friday and into the weekend. Not a cloud in the sky at the moment, and that's the way it's going to be through the course of this evening. So it's dry and clear overnight. Just a hint of some sea mist by the end of the night if we skip to the end of the night, lows of 4 or 5 degrees Celsius. Next high water time in Filey at 4:55. So another glorious day for many of us with plenty of sunshine around. Just a hint of some sea mistiness along the coast at times, but there should still be some sunshine. The top temperatures will be inland. We're looking at highs around about 22 Celsius. That's not bad, is it? 72 degrees Fahrenheit with a light northerly breeze. Looking further ahead then into Wednesday, it looks cloudy and cool, with temperatures taking quite a drop, but then they recover through the second half of the week and into the weekend, where there'll be some warm sunshine. That's the forecast.
Paul, thank you very much indeed. That's just about as far as we go this evening. We've got our update, of course, at 8 o'clock, and Luxman will be here with the late news at 10 o'clock as well.
Absolutely, I will be. Don't miss it. Until
we'll see you a bit later. Bye-bye.
Bye.